Hello, screenwriters, and welcome to Writing for Screens, the Screenwriting Step-by-Step Project, episode 184. My name is Glenn Gers, and I come to you every Monday through Friday, if I can make it, at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, to let you look over my shoulder, share my screen as I write a script. I am doing this in order to trying to teach a part of screenwriting that I think is kind of under-taught, which is just the mechanical, step-by-step, scene-by-scene, line-by-line process of writing. Doesn't matter what kind of script, doesn't matter what style or length, this process of getting your ideas into scenes, into an outline, into a draft, and how to rewrite that draft, that's the process. Everybody has their own way of doing it. I am not saying this is the only way or the best way or the professional way or the way that will sell. It's just the way that I taught myself during a 25-year career writing for TV and movies, and I thought that some of these tricks and techniques might be helpful when you are working on your blank page. So I'm just going to share them with you. Take them if they're useful. If they're not, pay no attention. Go on and do whatever works for you. If you are interested in getting my basic ideas, I'd like to talk to you about the rest of this channel where I have these videos, instinct, think in scenes, flashbacks, all these different things in the first three categories: screenwriting essentials, screenwriting tools, skills, and craft, and the process being a writer. Those videos are lessons that I tried to put together on very specific topics that I think are the most practical, useful things that I can think of for you to try out for yourselves. So this is just me doing that so that you can watch me do it, kind of the Bob Ross of screenwriting. Take of it, whatever works for you. That's the key. Everybody's on their own path and has to do it their own way. Hello, Tavana. Hello, Eddie. Yes, thank you. It is a super cool shirt, and I am very happy to be wearing it. I think my microphone, I switched to a new microphone, but now my camera is going. I'm very glad to hear that. That's very nice. I like to think that I am being helpful. That's really the key to all of this. So let's just get right to the helpful stuff, which is watching me write a script. We are making our way through this long, complicated scene. This script has certain sequences that are just so chock full of things that it's going to take several passes, several drafts to really figure out which of these many things that are going on in them are the point of the scene, the one thing you can't do without. I think it's always helpful to try and understand, if I have to sacrifice some darlings, if I have to not do everything I would like to do, what's the thing I have to do, and how can I do that as well as I can? Yes, absolutely. That is where I am. Okay, so let's just get going here. So the point is that this scene has so many. This has like 10 twists and turns in it, and one of the things I'm trying to do, one of the things I decided was, it was a scene where I brought together all of the characters, but about 5 of them were on Zoom. And I don't know if that's a great idea. So I was trying to rewrite it and strip it down to just the people who are key in the room. Hi, Jean. And hi, Zano. I will get to your question in just a second. Let me finish what I'm talking about here. Anyway, so right now what I'm just going through is trying to... Hello, Najo. Happy Memorial Day to all of you. I guess Happy Memorial Day is not really a sensible thing to say, but you know what I'm getting at. I hope you're enjoying your Memorial Day holiday, for those of you who are in the U.S. Hi, Jenny. Nice to see you. Okay. So I'm just, some of these are a little tweaks, but some of them I'm going to have to make some big changes. Do I tell them? Do I tell them? All right, this is... a lot to process. Okay. This is the thing. This little section here, I keep moving it around because I really like it, but now I think I moved it too late. Hi, Jose. So I'm just going to take a second before I decide that question and answer Zano Banks' question, which is, what different elements of emotions should you have in the story and how consistently should you include them? Well, there's no rule to that. Every story has its own different set of emotions. Some, like, like it would be very hard to say that Duck Soup, the Marx Brothers movie, which has the emotions of just anarchy and silliness and political satire, but there's not a lot of romantic emotions or anyway. The point is, you put that, and then you put like Shawshank Redemption, and then you put The Godfather. They've got very different emotions. And so the answer is every single story has its own emotions. There's no rule book of these are the emotions that make a good story. Part of making a good story is making that choice. And that actually is a thing I would really like to emphasize, which is... Damn. I'm gonna have to find this, but I got a little slogan here. Yeah, here it is. Writing is making choices. This is one of the key things. The art of writing includes saying, I want to talk about this emotion and not that emotion. That I want this to be silly and political and scary, or I want this to be romantic and thoughtful and sensitive. There's so many emotions that you can put in. You can't get them all in, and not every emotion is appropriate for every story. So the answer is there are no absolute rules to anything like that. How consistently should you include them? It depends on what the emotion is. For instance, some things that are very scary, you actually don't want it to be scary every second because that tends to get numbing. You want to maybe take a little break, even have a laugh, or have something that's kind of relaxing. So the basic answer is you have to decide for yourself what the emotions of your story are, and try and figure out how to structure it so those emotions are most for what you think is most powerful. Hello, Manga Express. Good. Okay, so the thing is, I'm going to have to reread this whole script at some point and decide on certain, like, where this little section that I keep there, where Xena tries to, get Deakins' contact information. I think that's... I can't tell. When you're just looking at a certain section, then you can't always get the rhythm. And a lot of things are about rhythm, about, oh, I've been going along a certain way, now I need to change. Or I've been going along this way for a while and I need to go back to that feeling. They're things that you can only get in the context of the whole story. So, frankly, when I'm just looking at this little half page that I'm showing you, I can't make certain decisions. You can only make those by stepping back, reading the whole thing, getting a sense of your judgment from what they call the 10,000 feet or 30,000 feet, depending on what foot meter you're doing. Hi, Thumper. Jose, is it possible to write a script without set pieces? I would say it's obviously possible. I'm not sure if it's advisable. Oh, Zeno, thank you. I'm glad, Zeno. Um, so the answer is it possible to write a script without set pieces? And let's talk about what set pieces are because somebody made a video about them. I think it was me. Yes, there we go. I did a video. Look that one up. It's called Set Pieces, and it explains what set pieces are, which are basically sections of the story, sort of key sections where whatever type of story it is, it's kind of the most heightened moment of that. In a war movie, it's going to be the war scenes. In a musical, it's going to be the musical sequences. But the point is, the whole movie is not those. Those are the moments when you get these intense experience of the thing that the type of movie it is. So the question would be, can you do without them? I honestly would say no. I would say that it is. I mean, it is obviously possible. You could. I mean, I I'm not sure what what the advantage would be of not giving heightened experiences of the thing that somebody came to that movie for. What's the good side? What's the upside of not doing that? So I guess the answer would be it's possible, but I don't know why you would do it. There you go. Hello, Larry. Um, okay. I was wondering. Yeah, yeah. I was wondering that. Somebody pointed the cops right at you. Who did that and why? You should team up to catch me. No, to clear your name. If we find the real killer, everyone. No, to clear your name. Well, it's so funny. There's so many right things. No, to clear your name. If we find the real killer, everyone will know you didn't do this. Well, that's clearing his name. You should help us. Okay. Hi, I write. Oh, the gang's all here. Great to see all of you. Um, no, to clear your name. You should help us. No, to clear your name. I just wanted Mrs. Roisman. Mrs. Roisman to know. I just wanted Mrs. Roisman to know. No, I'm not gonna. No offense. I'm not gonna do. No offense. I'm not going to do that. No, no, thank you. No offense. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna do that. No offense. I just. I think it's. I think maybe it's. I think maybe it's. No, clear your name. I. Hmm. See, the question here is where are we leaving this? I would appreciate if you would not help me. No offense. Uh, I think I'm just gonna go back to my life. I think I'm just gonna back to nobody knowing anything about it. I think I'm just gonna go back to. I think I'm just gonna drop off the. I'm just gonna go back to my life. No, that's. I think I'm just gonna go back to my life. Please don't help me. Uh, I don't think so. I don't think so. Then people are going to think you're a killer. That's good. And people are going to think you're killer, then people are going to think you're a killer. I just want to... I just wanted Mrs. Roizen. See, thank you. I understand. I appreciate it. Thank you. If you guys want to, if you guys want to, what I basically want to say is don't help me. So, hi, chicken ass. I'm hoping you're not a troll, but but just somebody with a funny name. Okay. Hang on, and I'll get to this one. All right. Okay. So what I want to get to here is the idea that Deakins is saying, "You go your way, I go mine." I guess I'll have to live with that. I just wanted Mrs. Roizen to know. I understand. I appreciate it. Thank you. It would, if you, what I need him to say is basically, okay, don't help me. Don't don't work with me. No backseat writers. Oh yeah, well, so far I don't think anybody's and nobody's been offering stuff, which I appreciate actually. Um, yeah, because the process of groping in your own subconscious to find those lines is once you get used to it, it's not a bad thing, but it's easy to get thrown off it. Um, so backseat writing, now and then, but in general, not my favorite thing. What I'm trying to get to here in this blank space is that people are going to think you're a killer. If you don't tell your own story, people are going to think you're a killer. That's just really funny because the point is he is a killer. He just didn't happen to do this murder. Okay, I'm going to take a break here about characters because we're getting stuff which frankly is great. In my opinion, the most important developing characters, and Matthew has said, and I think this is a good example of my thinking too. Developing to have a clear idea of what they want. I think that is actually um, the main question. I've often talked about what I think of are the six questions, the six main questions. And who is it about means we're talking about a character. What do they want? And then the rest of these are all about what the problems, the obstacles are to what they want, and what that makes them do. Those are the things that I think define a character um, at their best. So I do tend to go there. I also tend to think that the most important part of developing characters is to give them a sense of their own life. That they're not there because they're a type. They're not there because they're a plot device or they're carrying information. They are in that moment because they are living their life, and what they're doing is important to them because of their feelings and their style, their personality. I think it's very important for good writers to not necessarily think, oh, the character has to tell me who they are, because that is, you're making up the character. You decide. But you decide by imagining them as a real person, as a person who has a specific story and life, not as a person who's taking care of your business of getting a certain plot point across or of fulfilling a certain role. That, I think, is very important. Um, That's also good. Those are always good. Good questions. Um, Thank you, Great Scott, who I don't think I've ever met. Hello. The narrative as well. Love this for a story and a life. That is so true. Um, okay, so, but we got another question here. What are the set pieces in drama and love stories? Well, it depends on what kind of drama and what kind of love story. For instance, in a romantic comedy, um, the the scenes are going to be, it depends on what kind of romantic comedy it is. For instance, in a screwball comedy, they're going to be stories of chaotic misunderstanding between two people who are actually perfect for each other but seem to be impossible for each other. So there would be like these scenes where they're sort of mangling each other's stories. But then in other kind of love stories, the story is the getting to know each other and the coming together and the connecting. There isn't a rule to any of this. The point is to think about what you think the main set pieces in a drama are. Sometimes the set pieces in a drama are moments when somebody explains themselves or confesses or there's so many good dramas and so many the dramas are to say dramas you can't make a rule for dramas. Dramas is so many different stories. A cop drama and a medical drama and a love drama, they're very different. Every single drama, every single love story is different. So there are no rules about that. There's no universal truth of all stories are like this, because if there were, we wouldn't need new stories. We would just have them. Um, so, you know, the uh, the thing to do is to try and think about what you think the set pieces are. That's the point. It's not that there's a formula. There certainly are formulas that you could borrow, that you could look at and say, oh, I like this love story. I like, the story where, you watch how they come together. But then there's some love stories where the whole point, like in Four Weddings and a Funeral, kind of the whole point of the love story is that they never get together until the last minute. And so it depends. Some other love stories, it's all about how they spend an intense amount of time together and then they'll never see each other again. Those are both love stories. So the answer is always you figure it out. Just figure it out knowing that you want something to be the specific voice and style and moment of your version of that story. Okay. Uh, I am going to get this. Let me just put a placeholder here so I remember what this is. You guys go your way and I go mine. Please don't help me. Okay. I leave that in here just so that in case in our discussion of other things I forget what I was going to write there. Okay. Hi, Emmy Elijah. Very nice to meet you. Do you need to be clear about the tone of a character? And I appreciate it. It sounds very formal. It could have been thanks, man. Yes, yes, yes. Very good, Emmy Elijah. Very great. That is exactly right. You do need to be clear about the tone of a character. You need to get their style into your head so that when you think about how they talk, you think they talk in their way. Um, so yes, Madeline does indeed. She is somewhat formal. The tone of Madeline is someone who has learned to be corporate and safe and proper, not crazy proper, but well behaved. And underneath that is a boiling cauldron of other emotions that are coming out in this story. So that's actually the point, is that Madeline is smart, but she is a little formal. That's very, very, very good point about characters. Every character has a style, a tone, a voice. And one of the things you're trying to, like, earlier on, we had this guy who's just got one scene. He's a delivery boy, a delivery guy, delivery person. And he's delivering food from a diner, but also selling drugs. And as I got to know him, as I experimented with his lines, I stumbled, and you often stumble upon someone's style. I stumbled upon the style of the absolute minimal words. Like he's very sort of like, hey dude, but he just speaks very, very, like the shortest possible sentences. Once that clicked for me, I start to steer towards it. It doesn't mean you can't break it. He might suddenly give out an enormous speech later in another episode. But his general thing is to kind of hang back and speak very, very short, like briefly, like just dropping things. Now, Madeline is more proper, formal. Okay. Yeah. I think asking what will happen to them if they don't get what they want is a good question to ask about characters. Absolutely, that is a good question. Um, uh, Someone once said that they should also have secrets. The secrets that they are willing to do just about anything to protect. I believe that that is a. It's not a bad thing. Partly, I have to tell you, that's the thing that actors often come up with. In other words, in order to make their scenes have a certain subtext and a little craftiness for them, they will sometimes make up a whole irrelevant subtext that this person has, and that's an acting trick. It's not necessary to the writing of the character. I believe that if you're going to start to give people secrets that no one ever knows about, I'm not sure how you would write that. If there is a secret that is going to relate to the plot, sure, cool, great. But I don't think you necessarily have to. Some people don't have secrets. It's a tool to use when you feel like this person needs some kind of extra dimension. But I do not believe that every character has that. I think that's yeah. It's so difficult in the arts. There's almost no absolute universals, and yet everyone, when they discover anything, any trick that they like, they say this is universal, and that's the one extra thing you don't have to add. You just say this is a cool trick. Use it when you want. That's my feeling. Um, Yes, I channel the voice of my muse to write his character. I think that to a certain extent and different people phrase it differently. You can think of it as your unconscious. You can think of it as the character's voice or the muse's voice. Many in the history of creative arts, people have often talked about that feeling that the stuff you are coming up with isn't entirely your stuff. You're not entirely in control of it. That's true. Whether or not that is literally a character coming to life in a spiritual sense and speaking through you, or whether it's simply your unconscious creative ability taking pieces that they like and putting together in a way that you're not aware of, because that's the whole point of unconscious, doesn't matter. Whatever you want to call it or feel it, all that you need to know is how to get that to happen. Um, Once again, do we need a complicated man character? I mean, some kind of personality style? You don't need it. This is another one of those, like, there's no universal. I mean, it's very possible to have a character who's incredibly simple. Like, there's a movie called Being There, which is about a guy who's literally simple-minded. He's childlike, and because he is so childlike, he speaks kind of cryptically, and people read into him. So he becomes like this person who's like important to a lot of important people simply because he is so simple and they don't get that he's simple. So the answer is, like, in that case, you don't have a main character who's complicated. The people are the people projecting their complications on him are the point of the story. So I wouldn't say you need a complicated main character. I would say usually they're fun, they're good, they're interesting. You want to at least have them develop, or if not develop, can either mean change step by step as the story goes on, or that things about them are revealed so that they're not changing. We just didn't know something and now we find it out. Either way, there's things. If they are simply doing the same thing over and over for the entire story, that tends to get mostly boring. Although Now and then you'll have a story like this person is like relentlessly out on a quest to, do this thing, and what's cool about this story is that they're just relentlessly on it. But even then, almost always there's going to be some moment where you get a little other characteristic. Um, yeah, in regards to plot, no, I still don't think that you always have to have a secret. I don't believe that that's true. I believe that it's often useful, but I don't believe it's like you don't pull your hair out if you're not finding a secret for somebody. Sometimes they don't have a secret. Sometimes they are just a reliable person who can be trusted. Sometimes they're just a person who lets their feelings out all over the place and everyone knows who they are. Is it like putting on a mask? For some people, yes. This is a question about channeling a character. If that's how it feels, great. Um, the question is like whatever way it works for you. There is an element of creative writing which comes from unrecognizable or inaccessible places. Whether they are within you or without you is irrelevant. What's important is that you leave room for that to happen, and I believe that you need to figure out a method to reliably make it happen, because one of the hardest things is you'll sit down to write and it won't happen. So I do believe that I've done a video about create a ritual, in the sense that you want to make a pattern of creation that is reliable, familiar, routine enough that inexplicable thing can happen. Yes, being there, absolutely. That's since we don't have the production design or what the room looks like at the time of writing the script, what difference does it make, interior and exterior? Okay, this is a legitimate question, and the answer is kind of kind of sad and frustrating, which is these lines, interior, it's called a slug line or a scene line. It's the line, scene heading, I believe is what Final Draft calls it. It's the line between scenes that indicates you're starting a new scene. These lines, which are specific to screenwriting, are irrelevant to the writing. They are for production. And because there was no such thing as somebody writing a screenplay that wasn't for production in the history of motion pictures until recently, they made the formula of writing the script production oriented. So these lines are simply the way to say, new scene, this is where it is, this is when it is, and the interior and exterior is purely for the people who are doing the budget and schedule to figure out how many interiors do we have and how many exteriors, and like there's a lot of like technical stuff about production that's for. That's the only thing that is for. I think it's very good to consider that you will never, that people don't read those. When you write them, assume that nobody's reading them. They're just like a little a bar between lines. They're just a line that, don't ever put anything important in here. Don't put any fancy writing. These are just required by the stupid formula of screenwriting, which once again I have said to many people and I will continue to say, seriously consider if you could not write in script format. If there's any way that you can find yourself creatively not writing a script, I would urge you to consider it, because as a scriptwriter and as somebody who's teaching scriptwriting, I can tell you it is a narrow and foolish art form. If you want to do it, cool. But do recognize that it would be so much nicer if you didn't have to do those slug lines. And you don't. Just my something to keep in mind. Something that I wish people had told me when I was starting to write scripts is that there's certain satisfactions to writing scripts, but there's also certain frustrations. And I would advise all writers to consider putting some of their creative energy into non-script form because of questions like this, which are very legitimate. What difference does it make? It only makes a difference that script writing is for production and they ask you to do it. No, not really. I mean, no. I like all of cinema. I love entertainment. I love the art form. Um, the you know good and bad at any given point. Um, so yeah, I don't think that there's anything that I would particularly gripe about that. Okay. Um, all right. I'm trying to decide if this is over described. Yeah, once again, like I said, this is not it's not useful in any way for the writer. It is entirely not for the writer. These slug lines are for production. That is all they are for. Pretend they don't exist. I mean, write them, but don't consider them part of your writing. uh, you're just saying where the location is so that the person who's reading it knows where the things are happening, and that's all it is. Um, Okay. Um, well, as a librarian, by Jeff, who knew that? That's so cool. Librarian, we need more readers, and by more proxy, more writers. Adapt your own script. Yes, that's yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Jeff. That's cool. And cool on go librarians, go books, go reading. um, see. You know what? Here's the thing. This is what's bothering me. The reason I'm dwelling on this little bit is I've got 4 lines here, but I've kind of remember that you're steering the reader's mind. The actual action of this scene is the guy disables the phone, throws it away, and takes in his emotion. But what I did here, im, improperly, unwisely, was and takes a deep, uneasy breath suggests his state of mind. Um, and then I do some action, and then I take a moment to suggest the world around him, which is in contrast to the topic he has been talking about. And then, and I really like this, he looks down at his hands, they're trembling slightly. So he's emotional. That the point about this is that he is emotional. But I already gave that away here. So that's what's been bothering me, and I'm going to fix it by taking that out. So now, Deacons closes the flip phone, moves the battery, and drops the phone into the water. Actually, you know what? I don't have to say closes the flip phone. Who cares? He removes the battery and drops the phone into the water. Okay, that is now. And then I'm going to take this out because the kicker here is they're trembling. This is the moment. This is the point of this. Is instead of the 5 lines I've done there, which is just overkill. This is much better. He moves the battery, drops the phone into the water. How exactly he does that is not important. The actor and the props person and the director will figure that out. The point is he is disabling the phone and getting rid of it. Then we are being conscious, and he is being conscious of the contrast between the beautiful place he's in and the dark place he has been talking about. And then we reveal that this has been a much more emotional thing than he has let on. That is the point of this scene. This scene has no dialogue, it's simply an action, but it is a revealing action. This is the kind of thing that you want to do in screenwriting, but you also want to make sure that you keep it short and clear so that the reader gets it. Okay, that was good study. Boy, if that's all you get from this lesson, that bit that I just did there of changing those lines, which seems just like wordplay, is actually 1,000 times better. Is this about ending the scene at its height? Well, it's about making sure that you're not repeating the height of the scene. Like if you start the first sentence of the scene and you give away its emotional tenor, and then you go and you describe a bunch of things, and then you go back to the same place. Why the point about dramatic moments is that once you hit the revelation or the action or the change, you move on. So by putting it at the beginning of the scene and then at the end of the scene, I wasn't moving on, I was going in a little circle. There are artistic points at which one does that. This is not that kind of thing. Hi, D. D or die. Can a character sound fake? Sure, absolutely. Characters often sound fake because people often sound fake. That's the point. The character can sound fake if the person they are either wants to sound fake or unknowingly sounds fake. Very often people, they think they're being very fancy, but they're not, or they think they're being very street, but they're not, then so they sound fake. That's absolutely okay. I learned of a tool that I think I will use a lot, the One Look Dictionary. I can search a general idea if it's in the database, and it'll give me the closest matching word. That's fascinating. Huh. An interesting concept. I wonder. That's yeah. Okay. Yes, exactly. Managed to cut and lost nothing like that. Better for read. Thank you. That is what I think. Um, now, now we get to the question of going back to the Zoom meeting and what they are saying, like having ended that. Like it seems like we've closed off Deacons. So now we're going back to the group of people who are reckoning with the fact that they had this conversation with the serial killer. Yes, it did, and it changes it. Now, so this is not great, but let me read. Got too much. Okay. So we're going to do this little bit about the Zoom meeting. Now here's the thing. No. Sorry, I'm just doing a little trimming. No, we swore we would. This is tricky. I have to think about where we're. The thing you want to do is figure out where you're heading. Unfortunately, he said he stopped. He said he stopped. Doesn't have to be. It doesn't. He still have to pay for what he did. Wow! Yay! That's great. I am so glad. That is, when I'm doing this, I am always intensely conscious that I the point of this is to help you guys do your work. It is not for me to be right or for me to put on a show. It is I actually want you to have some kind of useful mechanisms with which you can do your thing. So when somebody says that they actually like get things in a new way, that's a yay. Thank you so much. Um, yes. Okay, this part of it is good. So this part of it, and I'm still gonna have to figure out the mechanism where the. I keep going back and forth between getting this Zoom meeting out of the scene or putting it up on the TV, so that these people are in the room, because they are valuable, they are important. So you know, um, did that really just happen? Is that McLean? No, no, that is not. That is Cameron. Okay, did that, did that actually? Did that really just happen? Yes, it did, and it changes everything. So Zena, now, someone has to say, this kind of arguing is not my favorite here. I mean, it actually can be fun when people do it, but when you're still almost 10 pages over length, um, and basically these lines are all just fuzzing the question. Um, and the question that we left off here, which is Deacon saying, "You go your way," I went like, "We're not gonna. I'm not gonna help you. You don't help me." Um, uh, I'm just reading my lines here, trying to. He's not getting a pension, but he said he's not. I don't think he's getting a pension, but he said he stopped. Well, I don't think he's getting a pension, but he said he stopped. But he stopped. I don't think he's getting a pension, but he said he stopped. But he said he stopped. I don't like that a lot. A lot of times it's like when you say the lines out loud, it's like, how is someone going to say that? He said he stopped. It's just not easy to say. But well, I don't think he's getting, but he stopped a long time ago. Doesn't he still have to pay for what he did? And I like that this question, this is a great question. And I like that it just gets sort of like lost in the what do you mean by, what do you even mean by, what do you mean by evidence? What did he give away? What did he really give anything away in the call? The call is evidence, and he confessed. This is Ted. Camera. But we don't know. See, because yeah, all right. But we don't know who is or where, but we don't know who he is or where he is, or where. We don't know who he is, but we can. I think I don't know who he is just the point. Absolutely, that is definitely one of the things. This is actually a set piece for those of you who are looking. This story, the set pieces are there's different kinds, but one of the main set pieces is people working together on the puzzle, the putting to the coming at the same puzzle, the mystery, with their own styles and weaknesses and strengths. And when you get enough of those people jumbling up the story, those set pieces become funny because they're arguing, each of them with their own point of view. Um, that's a set piece. It's because it's actually hard to pull off, to keep the ideas pinballing around and yet not have the scene stop dead. Um, uh, no, that is so sweet. No, I have never taken any acting or reading training. Um, I think I have a fairly good reading voice just because I'm a lucky person who has that. Um, I'm thinking about the acting thing. When I was young, when I was in high school and college, I thought, oh, great people, often are like actor, writer, director, producer. They do everything themselves. So I thought I would do that. But the truth is, I'm a very bad actor. Um, I can pull off some weird character parts, but I once in the 12 years that I was temping, and office working before I started to make money at writing, one of the jobs I had was working at a video studio, which was producing music videos and other kind of videos. And I got some of the people in the crew to make a short with me. I wrote, directed it, and they all got to do their editing or lighting. It was like all the assistants got to do the job because like the assistant editor, after hours was my editor, and the assistant camera person was after hours the camera person. So it was like they all got together and they said, cool, we'll do this for free. I gave myself a one scene part, just one little bit in the middle of a scene. I had like 5 lines. Watching myself on that video convinced me to never act again. I had done some plays in college and high school. Anyway, the answer is um, failing to act has given me a great respect for acting. But what I think you're really talking about is just reading out loud, and I don't know, maybe reading books to my kid when he was a kid. I don't know. Um, so we're heading towards the end here. We're heading towards a break, to the end of the hour. But there's one more question from Di or D. Can the main goal of a character change through the story, or can it destroy everything that was written before? Or you mean or will it? Like if you change it, will it destroy everything that was before? The answer is a character can change. And hang on a second, because this is one I actually did a video on. Let me I'm quickly checking. Oh, I've done the wrong thing there. Hang on, I'm looking on my computer. I made a list of all my previous videos where I answered questions. Because people ask it and be like, I did one like that. So let me see if I can find it. Um, ah, hmm, where is it? Yes, okay. It's in the Screenwriting AMA. Hang on, let me see if I can put this up here. Okay. I'm not. There we go. Okay. This one, it's called this. Here. live screenwriting, you look in the other live streams, in the list of live streams, you'll find one that says this. The second issue that came up in that episode was, can a character change what they want during the story? So I went into that in detail. The short answer is yes. A character can change what they want. Usually there has to be some relationship between the thing that they start out to want and the thing they change. They can't keep changing. If they keep changing, then that those changes are all supposed to be part of one thing that they like. Like they may be searching for the pot of gold, and so they want 12 different things on the way to getting the pot of gold, but it's always in getting the pot of gold. However, there's often the case that a character will, yes, I know this is over my face, but I want you to see it, this title. Go to that video. Very often, a character will start out the story thinking they want something, and then by the end, they realize that they want something else, that there's like a false thing they want. Or sometimes, like as I've used it in the spoiler, The Godfather, there's examples of someone who thinks he wants one thing. He does want, Michael at the beginning of the story wants to get out of the family. And because of circumstances, he learns that he does not want to get out. He changes what he wants. He wants to protect the family instead of getting out of it. So there you go. Can it happen? Yes. Will it destroy everything? No. Should it just be random? They're like, oh, he wants this thing and then he wants that thing? No. Yay! Okay, well, on that happy note, I think we're going to head towards... I will be here tomorrow, and then I'm going to be off for like 10 days. So see you tomorrow. I will also post a little video letting you know that I'm off for about 10 days. But right now, I would just say, have yourselves a delightful evening and go write something.